Hi everyone, this video is going to go over linear equations. We're going to plot points, equations of lines, find the slope, all of that good stuff. So again, before you start, make sure you have a writing utensil, your notebook, and if you'd like a ruler or straight edge, that would be fine. Also, I gave you the cutouts of graphs, so if you want to use those at some point and tape them into your notes, that would be absolutely appropriate. So here we go. Let's do this quickly. Let's just remember how to plot points, make sure we're all on the same page. So remember, x is the horizontal distance from the origin, so I'm putting a red dot. That's the origin, 0, 0. So for this coordinate, I have x is the horizontal and y is the vertical always. So for 2, 3, that first one there, I would go to the right 2, and then I would go up 3. So I would end up right there. Negative 4, 5, so I would go left 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get negative 4, 5. Negative 1, 3, I'm going to go left 1 and down 3, so I would end up right there. And 4, 3, negative 2, again, we're just going over them really quick. There, so I plotted them. And I purposefully put them in the 4 different quadrants. So we have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Now those are just reminders of what the quadrants are and where they start, but a few of you, I think you were probably just doing y, x on accident. Just want to make sure we went over that. So now let's talk about the slope of a line. The slope of a line is almost like the angle of a line. It's how it's going up or down. This is the equation. A lot of times people say the equation of a slope is y equals mx plus b. That's the equation of a line. The slope is subtracting the y's and subtracting the x's. So it's the change in y over the change in x. You also hear it referred to as rise over run. So these triangles, that's just read change in y over change in x. And then again, most of the time you hear rise over run for slope. There are 4 different kinds of slopes. You have a positive slope, so as you read from left to right, it's going up. A negative slope goes down. A 0 slope is a horizontal line, and an undefined slope is a vertical line. Now, 0 and undefined, sometimes people can't remember which one's which, so I find this image very helpful. A 0 slope, you're just kind of chilling, driving along, nice flat road. You're not going up or down a hill. And an undefined slope, right, gravity kind of works, and you would just fall right off. So if that helps. So let's find the slope. So to find the slope, you just calculate or count. So in this case, I'm just going to do rise over run. So I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm going to go up and over. Now, I could have gone left and then up, but I like to stick to rise over run. So if I count here, that's 4 boxes and 7 boxes. So my slope would be 4 over 7. I went up and to the right, so those were both positive directions, and my slope is positive because it's going up. So I'm going to do this one. Now, because it's going down, I'm starting up on the top. I usually start from left to right, and then I go down. So I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's negative 3 over 6. This can actually reduce to negative 1/2. They're both correct, but I'm just reducing it. But either one would be 100% correct. I'm hoping that I can go this quickly through it because you guys probably remember, and if you didn't, you're like, oh yeah, I just count boxes. Okay. So now we're going to find the slope of an equation. So in an equation, you have to remember that the slope-intercept form of an equation is y equals mx plus b. So y equals mx plus b. M stands for the slope, and b is the y-intercept. And that's where it crosses the y-axis. So find the slope, it's right there. So you kind of would just write m equals negative 2. It's always in the coefficient of the linear term, so in this case, x. So find the slope. This time, I gave you coordinates. So I can't just say, oh, okay, here it is. So I have 2 options. I can calculate it with y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So when I do that, I would just, some of you might want to x1, y1 label them like this. So then you can say negative 7 minus negative 7. Be careful there because that matters. Over negative 8 minus negative 13. The reason I said be careful is because we're subtracting a negative, right? All those glorious rules. So this becomes 0 over 5. 0 divided by anything is 0. So what I know about this is that it's actually a horizontal line. It didn't ask me that, but it's a horizontal line. But the slope is 0. Okay. I also could have just graphed it. So if you have a graph, you can just graph it and then count. All right, equations of lines. So again, y equals mx plus b is our standard, well, it's not standard form, it's slope-intercept form. M is my slope, B is my y-intercept. So those are the two pieces of information I need to find. That's what goes into that formula. So to find it, I'm going to say, all right then, I'm crossing the y-intercept at -5. And the other point that I definitely cross is right there. So I know that my y-intercept is -4. So I'm going to substitute that in for B, or sorry, -5. Oopsies. So I'm going to substitute that in for B. And now I have to find my slope. So I'm just going to count. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1. So I went up 9 and over 1. That's just 9. You can write 9 over 1, but it's the same thing as 9. So let's try that again. And you might want to pause the video and try this on your own if you'd like to. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to say my y-intercept is at -2. And now I need to figure out, I see another point right there. So I need my slope. So I go down 3 and I go right 4. And my y-intercept is -2. So my equation is going to be -3 over 4, the slope of the line, and then it's -2 because of the y-intercept. And again, I'm hoping this is ringing a bell now. So again, slope, intercept. Well, hey, I can just write that thing right out. The slope is 5, the intercept is -5. It's that easy. You need those two pieces of information, slope and y-intercept. Slope, y-intercept. Let's do it again. So y equals -1/2 x plus 2. Slope, y-intercept into my equation. This one's a little bit different. There are a few different ways to tackle it, but I'm going to take this opportunity to remind you of another form of an equation. It's called the point-slope form. We don't talk about it as much in algebra just because we focus on y equals mx plus b, the slope-intercept form, a ton, but point-slope form is a very powerful form of an equation. So I'm going to write it for you first. All right, so it's y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. M we already know. M is slope. M is always slope. So we can write that one down. Now, the other two are the point. So the y1 and the x1 get substituted. It's the x coordinate and the y coordinate from the point that they give you. So x1 and y1 come from there. The other x and y stay right where they are. You don't use them. So let's go through that together. So because it's a point and a slope, notice point slope form, those are the two things I need. So I'm going to substitute y minus -4 is going to turn into a plus 4. So again, y minus -4, I'm adding because I'm keep, change, change. If you remember that rule, or subtracting a negative is actually adding. Equals my slope, circled in blue up there because that's the next part of my equation, is 2/5. And then I open my parentheses. That x stays in the equation minus the x coordinate of my point. And it's going to become plus 5 because, again, x minus -5 would change that to a plus 5. So that's all you have to do. Now, this x and y are just like in slope-intercept form when you have an x and y. Those stay there. The next one goes over something that I just want to remind you of when you have an undefined slope. So again, we were given a point and a slope, but this time the slope is undefined. That's kind of like a, hey, let's think about that for a second. So I'm just going to quickly sketch a graph, and I'm going to plot that point -4, +5 on it. A slope of undefined is one of those trickier kind of lines. If you think back to the image that I showed you with the car, there was the car going sideways on a horizontal line with a 0 slope, and the undefined slope was the car falling off because gravity works. So this is what it looks like. This isn't going to really have the rules applied to it because of this undefined slope. I can't really calculate with an undefined number. So I just wanted to remind you that a vertical line like this, because it crosses the x-axis, it has an equation of x equals -4. So that's just a reminder. It's nothing to worry about, but I wanted to put it out there. That's it for this video. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you in class.